Girl, you the damn, and she love me when I'm in it, and she never be pretending. Nothing that's real. She gon' tell you what she bought it, 'cause she know you.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. I'm Camille, and this is the E-Spot with Camille, and I cannot wait for you guys to meet my guest today. She is the lady behind all the best films and TV shows, hair extraordinaire, Miss Dr. Joyce Gilliard. I said it wrong anyway. Gilliard. I'll get it one day. Welcome. Happy early birthday. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You're doing so much. I mean, you're a filmmaker. You're a hairstylist to the stars on movie sets. You got the new film coming out. I mean, just so much exciting things. But let's start from the beginning. How did you get your start in the film business?
Well, I got my start in the film business when I worked as a salon consultant in New Jersey. Well, in New York. And I worked as a salon consultant in New York, and I went to a salon who needed me to give them education classes and things. And when I went there, he wasn't ready for me to see him. So I decided to stand outside and wait until he was ready for me to see him. And outside the salon, there was a Rolls Royce. And I just started talking to the guy that was sitting in the Rolls Royce. And he told me that he was the driver for Reverend Run and Run's house. Russell Simmons, and he was telling me that he was their driver, and so I was like, oh, okay. And he asked me, what do I do? And I told him that what I was doing, and he asked me for a business card, and I gave him like 10 business cards, and I said, heck, well, let me give you all these, and you can give them to other friends. And so he told me that at that time, Justine Simmons, which is Reverend Run's wife, she had just spent $6,000 on a hair weave, and she wasn't happy. So he said he was going to give her my card. Mm-hmm. So they called me about a week or so later, and they asked if I can come over to cut the boys' hair. Mm-hmm. And I went over to their home in New Jersey, cut the boys' hair, and then the next week I had to come back and do Angela and Vanessa's hair. And then the next week, I ended up coming back to do Justine's hair. And at that time, that's when they started the TV show Run's House. So I was their stylist for Run's House. And that led to other doors opening. And I moved away from New Jersey, moved down to South Carolina, and Army Wives started filming there. And I went in as a background artist. And I started to pay attention to the set there, because reality shows and, film is two different types of shows. And after that, I went in as an extra, and then I started asking questions. And the following year, I became one of their hairstylists. And that's the start of my career doing film and TV.
Well, now let's back up a little bit. I was not prepared for that. In the sense, Run DMC, I watched that show. That was really fun. And I think it was one of the first celebrity family shows as well, where you got to see the insides of someone's famous beyond just MTV Cribs or different things or the House of Famous shows and stuff.
Yeah.
What was that like on a daily basis? Because did they shoot every day? What was your schedule like?
Yes, they shot every day, and I pretty much went out there and kept the boys' hair maintained for the show, and Justine's. The girls were in and out at the time, so they weren't always around. Okay. And it was just a new experience for me, because I didn't know how to react on a reality show. A couple of times they wanted to get me doing cutting the boys' hair, and they were looking for something extravagant to happen, but I'm like, all I'm doing is cutting his hair. All I'm doing is cutting his hair, so it wasn't nothing extravagant to put in. And it's like when the cameras wasn't rolling, that's when all the stuff happened. And I'm like, now the camera should have been rolling. Like, it was so crazy because I think the following week after they tried to get me on camera doing something to their haircuts, who was it? It was JoJo. Mm-hmm. I'm cutting his hair and he's not paying attention. He's moving, doing all this stuff. And I'm like, can you just sit still so I can finish cutting it? And he turned the wrong way. I've never shared this story, but I'm going to share it right now because it's funny now.
I love it.
He turned his hair really quick and whoop, the clipper cut his ear. Bleeding, blood everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Thank God the cameras weren't rolling, but then it would have been a great story because he would not stay still. And he was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm so sorry. And here I'm like, oh my gosh, you just moved and the clipper cut your ear. Mm-hmm. So we laughed about it and everything, but deep down I was like, Lord, thank God the cameras weren't rolling because now I'm going to be known as the hairstylist that cut JoJo's ear.
And I guess it would have been a learning experience that all moms could have seen. See what happened to JoJo?
Yes. It was funny. We laughed about it after the fact, but it wasn't funny when it happened. And I was so grateful the camera wasn't on at that time.
No kidding. Was there any other incidences that happened that you were maybe not involved in that you got to see that you were kind of like, oh, I'm glad that didn't happen on my watch type of thing?
No, because a lot of it in the beginning, it started out as they were following the family and, they just were living, but then it became scripted. Okay. So it was like we followed the whole script and everything. So it wasn't nothing really.
Was it how scripted was it?
Well, like Justine she'll be in the kitchen cooking dinner. They'll say stuff. Okay, so you'll be in the kitchen cooking dinner. Ren will come in the house. I mean, it was really a lot of scripted TV. But it was a great experience for me. That was my first time working on any type of show. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened that I ended up working on the show when it first started, when they first got signed for MTV.
And you're working with like rap royalty because it's
I know. I was nervous too. I think that was like the first time I was really nervous because, I wasn't nervous at the fact that at first I started out as their barber. Mm-hmm. I was nervous that, it was Ron because I used to watch him and listen to him coming up, and here I'm in his family's home as the hairstylist.
I know. And then doing the crooked crown. Speaking of, I was like, wait, that only works with baseball caps. It's distracting to anyone watching. Oh
no, you just turned
mirror. It's the wrong way.
The wrong way. Yeah, go back. You go. Yes, you got it.
It's so hard to tell because it's in the thing. Anyway, I'm not going to mess with it anymore because you're the hairstylist, not me. So wow. So it was a little bit nervous at first, but you got over it, which is cool. Yeah.
And then we became really good friends. And then they started introducing me to all their friends. Mm-hmm. And so I just went around doing everybody's hair.
Now, what made you make the transition to South Carolina? Because, you think of New York being a much easier place to find jobs in the film industry. So what was the appeal to South Carolina?
Well, I was a military wife. My husband, that's why I was in New Jersey. We traveled, with the Army. Okay. And it was about time for my husband to retire out of the military. And he wanted to relocate back to South Carolina, which is our hometown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So how lucky though that they were filming a TV show, because Army Wives had a huge following on Lifetime, and it's a really good show as well. I actually auditioned for it at one
Really?
point. I did. It was right when they ended up canceling it, so I kind of had that luck though.
Oh well,
I have to do something else. That's all. But needless to say, I was very excited about the idea of being on Army Wives.
Yeah, it was a fun show to work on, because being in the military, we weren't living in South Carolina, and I haven't been there since I was a little girl.
Okay.
So I didn't know anybody, so I can go in a beauty salon and work or anything. And Army Wives just happened to be filming at that time, and that was the perfect time for me to get in and try to see if I can work in film.
Well, now, how did you even find out about the jobs? Because I feel like it's really hard sometimes to find out about crew positions and hair jobs. It tends to be, it's a matter of who you know, and it's really hard to get into, is what I'm hearing from a lot of people.
It is. I think I might have attended like a film event or something, and I met some crew there. And from that, I ended up going in as a background. And I worked most of the first season doing, background work, getting to know the hairstylists and the producers. Huh?
You mean as an extra background?
Yeah, as an
I thought you were saying
extra.
background hair. Got it.
No, as an extra. I went in as an extra and just tried to get in and learn while I was there. And I made a lot of connections. And this one hairstylist, God bless her, she just recently passed away, Connie. She was the only hairstylist that said, gave me information I needed as far as like, get in the union and, go from there. And I did what she told me to do, just put in the work and try to figure it out. And next thing you know, I went to the producer and asked her the next season if I can come in as one of the hairstylists. And everybody knew I was a hairstylist because I had my hair different every episode. And she gave me a chance. And that was my first show I worked on, and the first show I got fired on too. So,
what happened?
You
don't have to, but
it's nothing. It's a learning experience for people that are new getting into the business, I would say. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just because I wasn't in the hair union, and a lot of the union hairstylists were upset that I was working on the set being a non-union hairstylist. And a meeting was called, and the producer told me, Joyce, I have to let you go because until you can get in the union.
Now, the union's not easy. You have to have a certain amount of hours and so on. Can you explain a little bit about that process for those that may be curious on how they can get in?
Yes, so to get into the hair and makeup union, you have to have 180 days working on a film set. And, have referrals, save call sheets, and it's a whole process. And then you're interviewed amongst your peers. So you have to know a lot about, set etiquette, how to, things dealing with the film industry before you can get in. And they do a lot of reference checks to make sure that this is the right candidate for the business.
Now, have you ever been on the other side where you're interviewing anyone to enter the union? Like, I'm curious, how does that process even happen? Who ends up doing the interviewing if it's by the peers?
It's definitely by the peers. I haven't been on that side where I'm interviewing. Most of the interviews take place in New York.
Okay.
So it's most of, the peers that are in the union in New York City that do the interviews.
See, I'm in the Screen Actors Guild, and it's not that it's not as difficult as that.
It isn't. Let me tell you, when I first got in and I had to go for my interview, they told me to have a CD, a CD with my work on it. So I was like, okay. And that's all they asked for, amongst other things, but they really wanted to see the CD of my work. Mm-hmm. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a CD and I'm going to take a portfolio. Just a regular portfolio myself. Oh my gosh. I went there to the interview and they had technical difficulties. Mm-hmm. They couldn't use the CD or anything. Couldn't do anything to see my work. Yeah. And thank God I pulled out my portfolio and was able to go through and let them see it that way. Mm. So I prepared for the unknown. And I'm so grateful for it because they probably would have they probably would have had to reschedule me.
Well, one thing I'm also curious about, because I think South Carolina is also a right to work state. So I always wonder how that work with union films, non-union films. Like there's that whole iffy area where if you're not union, you can still work on union jobs and vice versa. So again, I'm surprised they caused issues for you.
They did it, and I think back then it wasn't as many films going on back then too. So everybody was trying to get on that one show, and Army Wives was a show that went on for years and years.
Mm-hmm.
But South Carolina is a right to work state, and there weren't really any hairstylists in South Carolina except this one hairstylist that she's been doing films for like 17, 18 years. And then I came along and I ended up being the first African-American hairstylist in South Carolina to work on films and get into the union.
I was going to say, I know I've not in North Carolina. Well, I know you were, well, we'll get to it, but I know I personally have not had but one Black hairstylist or makeup artist that I worked with since moving back to North Carolina in 2007. When I first worked in film here, I did because it was a predominantly Black production, but working commercial jobs and different things one time.
Yep.
I'm kind of still surprised at how rare it is to see, especially when it's a predominantly Black cast. Sometimes you're like,
yes.
Oh.
Yes. But, and back then when I first started in the industry, it was more Caucasian shows going on, and you only had that one Black actor or one Black actress, and I would be the one they would bring in for that one Black actor or one Black actress. But I knew how to do everybody's hair.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter, because you can throw me in with Asian, Korean, white, Black. I was able to do it all. So that's one thing I
keep hearing a lot. Even there's been some news articles that have come out where hairstylists and makeup artists and even models and actors have come out saying that with their Black hairstylists or makeup artists, they have to know everything from Alablaster to the darkest ebony, or from 1C or 1A. I don't know what the hair numbers all the way up to 4.
Yes.
Every single hair texture, regardless of race, ethnicity, or whatever. And a lot of times it's not the case with white Americans, that they don't always are trained in all the different hairstyles. Some of it is because they went to a school that was segregated as well. But I still think it's a matter of everybody should be on the same level when you come to that level of professionalism. Yes.
And I wouldn't get hired if I didn't know how to do everyone's hair.
Right.
But it didn't work for my counterparts, So that was always an issue with me, because I had to work extra hard and be just as good, if not 3 times as much better than everybody else I worked with.
Well, let's go on down your resume, because you've worked on a lot of films.
I can't remember half.
I'm not the only one, because I will look on IMDb when people ask me about certain things. I'll look on IMDb and I'm like, I don't remember where I was living, but let me check. And I've checked my dad's IMDb, because he's the one that we were moving around with, so I can see where I was at certain times, or my mom even. But one thing that I noticed you worked on Shots Fired, which was here in North Carolina, and that was I don't know what it was like for you working on the film, but with all the police brutality and stuff going on, it was one of those films where you're just like, ooh, I wonder what that was like filming in North Carolina during all of that for you.
Woo! That was hard.
Okay.
That was hard. Because of the subject matter, and that was a hard one. Especially when we got to the riot scene. And it was a good show. I'm so grateful that I was able to work on it, but definitely the subject matter was very difficult and to work on.
I can only imagine. And just like with seeing everything going on now as well, it's just a reminder of how art imitates life, or vice versa in a way. And it's a great medium to kind of show different angles of how things can play out. If you're with film, they can really change the narrative with it.
Yes, I really enjoyed working on Shots Fired, though. We worked a lot of long hours.
Oh, really? What was the typical day like on that? Because that kind of goes right into your film as well, as far as long hours, which I can't wait to talk about that as well.
I know at least 18-hour days for me, the hair department, at least 18-hour days on Shots Fired. And, you know, we worked a lot of nights too.
Oh, that's right. It was a lot of costumes that night too.
And then we didn't work in like the best part of town either. So we had to even think more about being safe as well.
Man. Now, just because they just showed all the wonderful commercials during the BET Awards, we have to talk a little bit about Aretha, and then I want to talk about your filmmaking as well.
Okay.
Yeah. What was it like working on the Aretha film? Her husband and all that.
Oh my gosh. That was the best experience ever. First of all, working with Mr. Legendary Lawrence Davis, whom I love. He was the department head, and, you know, my bestie, Mona B. Yes.
4 months ago.
She was the key here on Respect. I helped a lot with the actors in the trailers when I worked, and then I worked in the background and helped with when we had like 300, 400 BG. So I pretty much helped to run background, make sure the styles were good. You know, it was just a lot of work, but it was fun.
Period pieces you have to really make sure it fits the timeline. Because what years do they cover in the movie? Is it just mainly in the 60s, or does it?
We covered the 50s and the 60s, and they did some in the 70s as well. But definitely the 50s were what we covered a lot on that film. And when I say it was so fun to create those hairstyles and work with at least 30 hairstylists in the background on heavy days to create beautiful looks. When you see the film and see the hair, you are going to be like, whoa.
I know
they did that.
For how they look. Because that was my thing with Empire. I just love the set dressing on that shows. And then after a while, I stopped watching because I couldn't keep up. But I cannot wait. 50s and 60s styles for women back then were they were so on point with the finger waves and just the bobs. And
let me tell you, when you see it, it's nice. And when I tell you Lawrence and Mona did that with Jennifer and, you know, Mary J. Blige and, you know, all the background singers. When I tell you, you're going to be so shocked at how beautiful, not even shocked, you're going to be like amazed at how beautiful everybody's going to look.
I mean, I have to even mention, because the BET Awards was just this weekend, and Jennifer Hudson was that green she was wearing. She looked like an emerald queen. It was just, and very regal, and it exuded that 60s era turtleneck and just the velvety beautifulness of it. I can't wait to see this movie. I wish they wouldn't wait until
Christmas.
I'm like, give us a Christmas present now.
I know. And with the costumes from Respect is going to blow your mind too. The costume, the makeup, the costumes, all of it together is going to blow your mind.
I can't wait. I know you're already so proud of what you've accomplished on that film.
I am. And, you know, Jennifer is the sweetest person ever. She is so sweet. She would always compliment me every time she saw me in passing. She'd be like, I like that. Where'd you get that from? That look cute. She would always compliment, and just her presence and her energy was just a blessing to be around.
That's nice to hear. You always like to hear that the people that people are spending their money getting entertained by are genuinely nice people to the people that are helping them achieve those looks that they're.
Yes.
You know,
she was very grateful too.
It's nice. Now, is there anyone that you haven't worked with or that you've worked with already that you would like to work with again, or any type of looks you're interested in working on or doing that you haven't done yet?
Well, I would love to do a film with the future, like a futuristic film where you can just think outside of the box and create looks that nobody's ever seen before. Hunger Games was something like that when I worked on that, but I want to work on something even more than just Hunger Games.
Because they were more like,
yeah,
yeah, very futuristic, Mad Max, something like that.
But that's what I want to do. I want to work on something like that.
Another North Carolina filmed show, Hunger Games.
Yeah, I worked on that, and that was a fun one to work on too, being able to do looks and stuff like that too.
Neat. Now, I want to make sure that I get enough time to talk about your filmmaking as well, because you've made that transition from being a makeup artist to a filmmaker. What made you decide to take that on?
Wow. It's so crazy how it started. Well, I don't know a lot of people if they're familiar with what happened to me on Midnight Rider, the death of Sarah Jones when we were filming on a railroad trestle, when she was killed, when she was hit by a train, and I was also hit by the train. And my arm was broken and reconstructed. And during my recovery time, I tried to figure out what can I do to make to improve safety awareness for films.
Now, just to back up a little bit, how much can you talk about what happened at Midnight Run? I don't know. I'm assuming all the legal stuff is behind you now, but
no, not all. But I don't mind talking about it.
Okay. I was just curious, how much of it do you remember? Like, was there? Because I know the guy. He got kicked out of the DGA and so on. But I was curious, like, how was that setup even set up? Just because other people, that's one of the sad things about working in a right to work state. I feel like they try to take advantage of a lot of the leniency here in North Carolina and South Carolina and Georgia, even, where they'll they won't get maybe all the film permits they're supposed to get or follow all the security or safety protocols. So what was the incident with that? Do you mind sharing what you can? I don't want to cause any.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're fine. So this film happened in Georgia, in Jessup, Georgia. And they did not get the permits necessary to film on a railroad trestle. And as a hairstylist or a makeup artist or a crew member, you assume that people do their jobs and get the necessary permits. So you don't really question it because you just assume it. And that was my mistake, assuming that we had permits to be on a railroad trestle, but we didn't. And we filmed on a railroad trestle and on a live trestle at that, when the train came through. So, and everybody knows what happened after that, but it was definitely something that I never thought I would ever experience in my life or be a part of.
Or survive,
survive.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that God saved my life, and I'm here with you today. And God bless Sarah Jones and her family, who still have to go through that traumatic experience of losing her life. But with that happening to me, wanting to change the way people think and bring safety awareness to the forefront, that's when I started my nonprofit organization, I Say TV and Film.
Right. And
part of my mission is to bring safety awareness to the crew members in film. And with the I Save TV and Film, I did a PSA, a safety PSA. And when everything came together for that safety PSA, I was like, you know what? I can do a movie about safety. There aren't any films about safety out there. I said, I can do that. And I didn't think about it again. And one morning, 3:00 in the morning, I'm driving to work, tired, sleepy, trying to stay focused to see the road. And it came to me. Daddy's Home came to me. And I pulled over to the side, 3:00 in the morning, pulled over to the side, and I typed it all in my notes on my cell phone. And then daytime hit, and I came back at it and I went and just went through it, and I was like, this is a film. I'm going to make this film. And that's when it hit me that I was going to do a film about safety for iSafe.
I mean, I'm so amazed by everything. Like, I didn't realize, because a lot of the different articles I read about your injuries, it didn't go into detail. And to know that you're a hairstylist and for it to be your arm and have that all reconstructed, to be able to go back to do what you love, and also to make a film. I'm just so impressed by your strength and courage in all of this. Because, I mean, people need to know how long hours that film's working. Because I think that's one of the things that's positive that's coming out of even with COVID-19 is that they're limiting how long people can work on sets. And that was way overdue. Growing up in a film family, there were so many times I saw the same things that are portrayed in your movie. And I'm just so grateful that you had that vision to do this and to put the word out, because I mean millions of people work in the film industry and going through the exact same. And we're getting excited about golden hour and extra paychecks, but then when you get in the car and all of that the silence hits and you're driving home, dark and far locations sometimes as well, it's not the safest. And I've had to say, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to work without a hotel room or like putting my foot down. Because when you're younger, you're too scared. You just want the job. You don't want to not work there. And so I think your film is amazing because it shines a light of how quickly things can change that seem to be okay. Where, the beginning of the movie, it's fine. 2 weeks into the movie.
Right.
It does start piling on you, and
you don't even realize how tired you are and exhausted you are. So, I mean, I worked on a film in North Carolina where I would honestly say that film was one of the films I worked the longest amount of hours. It was in North Carolina. And I remember it pushed me to the limit. Like, I was like, do I really want to do this anymore? Because I would bump into walls. You don't even know what day of the week it is. And then it messes with your physical, your body. I lost like 15, 20 pounds and I wasn't even trying and I'm already thin. So it does
I feel bad for you about that. I get it. Still, you can't. Malnutrition is a thing, so I get it.
It was a lot. So being a person in their business that have constantly gone through those excessive hours and how it affects us, that's why I decided to let my first film be about the long hours.
Okay. Now, how did you go about having your film made? Did you have any pushback from people who were like, oh, you can't let this secret out because maybe we won't get as much work or any of that? Did you have any of those challenges that came up?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I did. Oh, I had a lot of challenges, a lot of pushback, people telling me how I should do it, how I shouldn't do it. Oh, you probably won't get hired again or whatever. And the way I saw things is God is my provider. He's the one who gets me jobs. And if I have faith and continue to do what it is that he chose me to do, I'll be fine. I can always get a job doing other things. And as a filmmaker now, that's something I can do now. I can make movies now. So I heard what people said, but I didn't let it discourage me from doing what I know God gave me to do. Because it's not something that I would have naturally said, oh, I'm going to go out and write a film about safety. Or, it wasn't something that I just said, I'm going to do this. It's something that was birthed from a seed that he put inside me to bring to a reality, to help bring safety awareness to the excessive hours that we tend to work to bring dreams to life on the movie screen. So
now, since you're kind of the expert now in set safety, how do you feel about going back on to set? Do you have any plans coming up of working on anything or?
Yes, well, I feel like as far as hair and makeup is concerned, we've been practicing safety long before COVID came. cleaning our stations, sanitizing, disposing of things that we don't, we've been doing this for a long time. Now what we need to do is wear masks and just protect ourselves and the actor that we're doing. So we'll just take a few more extra precautions, take classes, to get certified in certain things so that you, the actress or actor, would be comfortable as well. I'm in the middle of taking an OSHA class right now, safety class. I took a barbicide class. I took a blood pathogen class. So I'm just trying to educate myself so that when issues arise on set, I'll be better prepared to handle it.
That's great. That's really good. I mean, I hope a lot of people are following your footsteps as far as taking all those classes and not taking any shortcuts, because once we get back on set, I'm sure it's going to be real easy to fall back into bad habit, not necessarily bad habits, but just things that, because it's such a quick moving industry.
Yes.
Too, so it's good to know that it'll be almost like muscle memory.
Yes. I've ordered face masks. I've ordered like a lot of PPE equipment and things like that for myself and for, if I have the actors in my chair. Even though I know production will be providing those things, I still have ordered stuff for myself.
Yeah, it's never a bad thing to be prepared. You learned that with your portfolio when you go down a CD.
I know.
You're definitely a Girl Scout, or I guess being with the military as well, they teach you to always be prepared. The Army, right? We get more done before you wake up. I think that's one of their commercials. So.
Yes, definitely.
Well, that's exciting. So, do you have any plans on? Because you said that was your first film. So, do you have any plans on making any other films? Or
yes, I am in the middle of writing another film right now. It's almost finished too. I started it right before COVID started, and I'm excited about this one too.
Okay,
I'm
excited for you now. I know you've won some awards for your film as well, right?
Yes.
I feel like I've read a few things.
Yes.
Sometimes I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
So how did you feel when you won your first award, like with hearing the naysayers and then getting approval from your peers in the film industry? That had to feel.
I was so shocked. Let me tell you this. Okay. When I did the film and I decided to enter it into film festivals, I didn't enter it to get awards. I entered it because I wanted people to see it so that it can change the way they think. That's why I entered it, because I'm looking at it, well, I can enter it internationally because that means my film will be international and some international eyes are going to be on it. And within the country, I'm thinking like this, not even thinking I was going to win any awards. Right. And then I started getting all these official selections. I'm like, wow, Turkey, India. Oh, wow. Okay. And I'm like, they're watching my film. And then it started hitting me like, okay, this is really happening. You are a filmmaker. Your film is being shown in all parts of the country and internationally. And people are going to get the message. And so that was really what made me feel great inside, to know that it has been seen everywhere. And then to get the awards was just icing on the cake. The official selection, Best Short Film. We got some nominations for the World Music Film Festival. And we got nominations for that, official selections. My trophy for the one film festival we won will be here soon. So I'm excited about that. So you won't be seeing a post with me holding my trophy. This was for my baby. This is for the crew and the cast. Thank y'all for help. I'm going to do a whole thing. Okay.
Oh, up. You got to, because
messing my hair up now.
It's the camera.
It's that camera. Okay, got it.
I love a China bang. Is that what it's called? Phil?
Yes, the China bang.
everything's changing names now. I just
Yes, and yeah.
It's very tempting to cut my hair every time I see.
No, keep
My
it.
hairstylist said no more bangs.
No.
I won't. Yeah, I hold my hands to myself. Just to kind of a parting thought, do you have any suggestions you would give for anyone who's interested in entering the film industry, whether it's as a hairstylist or a filmmaker? Do you have any advice just to kind of help boost their own confidence to just get into it?
So my advice to anyone interested in being in the film industry or a filmmaker is to be persistent and go after your goals and your dreams. You will get a lot of no's, but do not let the no's discourage you. Just keep pushing and keep pressing on, because when I made Daddy's for Home, I got so many no's, it's ridiculous. And I even got people that told me it wasn't good enough. You're not going to make this. Nobody's going to fund this. Nobody's going to do anything. I had all that said to me. And I said, that's fine. I don't care, because I'm going to make it anyway. And I ended up funding it myself. And I ended up finding a production team that wanted to help me, found actors who believed in the script and wanted to do it. And that's what happened. But I was persistent in getting it done. And I just want people to know, don't let anything that anyone say discourage you, because it can if you let it. And then next thing you know, you wish you did it. Right. So that's my advice. And then another thing I want to say is use those experiences to grow and help someone else once you do. Once you learn from whatever you had to go through, help someone else along the way. Right. Bring someone else up too, because that's even rewarding also. And I just always was that person. I went through the battlefield, but I helped someone come up behind me.
Oh, that's a very great point, because you mentioned how Connie helped you. And so it's nice to know that you're paying it forward as well. Especially, hairstyle, the glam period. Like getting into that is harder than any sorority.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Easy.
Yes. Just work hard. Work hard, and don't expect people to give anything to you, because they're not.
No, that's very true. And I want to make sure that everyone knows where they can keep up with you. If you have any classes coming up as well. And I was going to try to see if I could get the link real quick for Daddy's Home, because that's on Venmo. Is that right?
And yes, Vimeo.
Vimeo.
Venmo is that Cash App thing.
Oh, see?
Vimeo.
Money.
I see we got questions over there too.
Yeah, I'll grab those.
I'm like, oh. But yes, Vimeo, and I have it in Film Freeway for a lot of the film festivals as well.
Okay. I'll bring the link up later, because you're right. We should go ahead and go through these. Joyce, what look that you have created were you the most proud or excited about? From Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. The look that I created that I was most excited about was outside of films. Okay. It was outside of films. It was for this artist. He was having an art exhibit in Paris, and his whole exhibit was about hair. It was about hairstyles and how hairstyling has evolved. And I created the looks for his paintings that was showcased in Paris, France. So all of my work is in Paris. That was exciting for me.
Now, do you have a link to that?
His name is Dr. Fahamu Piku. I think I got Pico, and he does all the paintings for Blackish. He's on Facebook. He's on Instagram. I'll have to send it to you. But
wow, we'd love to see that.
Yes, and so he had this big art exhibit in Paris, France, and all of the paintings were the hairstyles I created.
Oh wow!
That was that one of the best times for me, because that was my first time going to Paris as well.
Now that sounds like that needs to be a picture book,
Yes.
a book as well.
Yes. I'll have to definitely send it to you so you can see it, and you'll be like, whoa, they were like life-size paintings.
I can't wait. Well, my mom's an artist, so I love art anyway, but
Yes.
you add two together.
Yes.
And let's see, are there any resources you recommend for industry safety education? That's another one.
Are there any resources oh gosh, there's so many out there. Okay, so there are a lot of safety apps that the IATSE has that I can tell you about, and they're on my website as well on www.isafetvandfilm.com. I have all the safety numbers and everything on that website.
Okay. www.isafetvandfilm.com.
Yes.
Fantastic. So I can look there and find out more. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm glad she brought that up as well.
Yes, and I purposely put it there so that, because a lot of, you have OSHA, you have the IA, they all have different apps that safety apps that you can go to as far as getting, numbers and everything. So I compiled it and put it on my website.
See, always looking out for people. A true advocate of awareness for safety. You're consistent with it.
Yes, I try to be. I honestly try to be, because I learned the hard way.
No,
So I just try to help.
I believe he's still trying to make films, because I saw recently there was some going on with that as well.
Yes, so he made a film. He was able to get a film financed, and he made a film out of the country. And actually on July 22nd, we will be going to his hearing to see if he violated his probation or not.
I'm just surprised if he was driving drunk or something, then you would be charged with I'm just surprised that on work safety that it's not prosecuted at a higher level for something like that, because that's so dangerous. I mean, everyone knows not to do, like, they even make a point of it's not a place to take photographs, and I'll see people posting pictures on train tracks, and
I cringe every time. I cringe every time I see photos on film railroad tracks. Like, I'm like, you don't know.
Get the charm of it. Like, why is that even a thing? I don't get it. There's so many beautiful architecture and things to take pictures around that I don't get the
I don't either.
Even appeal. I mean, I guess it's different for a film if it had something to do with a storyline, but something like that, and just like my mom was a stunt woman, and just thinking of so many times of her working on films, and if they weren't 100% safe, that maybe she wouldn't have came home, and that's just scary. You shouldn't have to get hurt at work.
It is scary, and I always sit back and look back to what happened, and I'm like, wow, I was a part of something that traumatic, me, and I was able to get through it. God saved my life, because I don't wish that on anybody.
No, I can't even imagine.
Just holding on to a railroad trestle while a train came through, and pray you don't get hit by it. But I got hit by it. So, yeah, that was a traumatic experience, and I don't want anybody else to go through anything like it.
No, me either. They shouldn't have to. So I don't know if there's any parting thoughts you would like to share. Feel free. I know it's your birthday coming up.
Yes, so my birthday is coming up on Friday, July 3rd. Yes, I'm having a virtual birthday party. But I don't know. I want everybody to be safe out there. Wear a mask. The mask helps protect you, and it helps the other person from getting the virus. And I just want everybody to take care of themselves and stay healthy.
Right, right. All right. Well, it was so nice having you on today, and I appreciate you so much. And I'm really glad that you're bringing awareness to these things so more people are aware, and even maybe they'll do a little better job of making sure sets are safe for everyone. And I remember there was when the incident happened with you and Sarah Jones, that the hashtag was going around everywhere and people were putting it on their film sets and shirts. Like, it definitely was something that wasn't just on the Southeast. Like, it definitely was. I want to say even internationally, I remember seeing things as well about it. So it makes a change, and that's.
It definitely was international, and people talk about it today. And I'm glad that I did start iSafe, because there are a lot of new people getting into the film industry that don't know about what happened.
Right.
So we have to constantly talk about safety and keep it in the forefront in our daily conversations, so that we can help to protect people from severe injury or death on any set.
Because, I mean, you keep hearing things happening where people just, mistakes happen, but still. So we have some birthday wishes coming through. So Rhonda Marie, happy early birthday from her. Of course, Nicole Gatewood is also saying happy birthday to you. And I tried something new with the watch party. And so there's comments I'm seeing on my watch party as well, where they're saying happy birthday. From Olivia Gatewood is saying happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, Angela Ray says hello as well.
Thank you. Hi. Yes. Tell them I'm having
Olivia, who's my mom, she says, thank you for being such an advocate for safety, because he's come home beaten up, bruised from work. So, yeah.
Tell her thank you so much for the support. Thank you all for the support. Definitely go to my website and check out iSafe TV and Film. And I have safety mask if anybody wants a mask. I got it upside down.
Got your whole logo on it too.
Yes, if anybody wants one, send me a message. I have iSafe t-shirts and sweatshirts that people wear on set. So if anybody's interested, just send me a message and we'll get it to you.
Now, what's the best way for them to contact you? Are you at Instagram, Facebook? Which one would you prefer?
They can do either, or Facebook or Instagram. Instagram I'm on is Gilliard Beauty. Okay. It's Gilliard Beauty. Facebook is my name, Joyce Gilliard. And then on Instagram, I'm under iSafe TV and Film as well. Or South Carolina Hair and Makeup Network. I have 3 different things going on.
Because that's the thing about being a woman. We can't just do one thing, right?
Sure can't. And, with my network, it was to help out South Carolina hairstylists, but now it's international. Mm-hmm. So, we just keep growing and growing, helping each other. That's my goal, just to help each other.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you. And thank you again. So, yeah, good to know. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anybody. Yep, we got it. All right. Thanks again for being my guest. This was so fun.
Thank you for having me.
And safety at the same time.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you. I love your show. And I thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I want to make sure you get all the party time in, because this is your season.
Yes. Yes, I will. Friday, y'all come join me for my virtual birthday party. I'm going to have music and dance, social distancing dancing.
Wait, I'm going to pull that up. I'll put it in the comments for everyone to see later, because it's on your Facebook page.
Yes. Social distancing dancing in your own home. I will have the music and it'll be virtual, and we're just going to have a good time.
Yay. I love it. I love it. Because it's my birthday. Not my birthday. It's my daughter's birthday a week from yours. And so I was like, what to do? So I love that people are finding ways, creative ways to still celebrate
Yes.
this scene as well.
Yes, definitely.
Exciting times.
And tell your daughter happy birthday.
I will. Thank you. Well, again, have a great night, and thank you for being my guest. And I hope you have a wonderful birthday, and I will see you at your birthday party.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you so much, Camille. Good night. Bye, everyone. Thank you for supporting.